and our next guest is helping leaders design their voice to amplify their worth. He's an ethical persuasion coach. Welcome, Leopold Ajami, the founder of the Novel Philosophy Academy. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's interesting that the Academy is the Novel Philosophy Academy, given the fact that when you say persuasion to me, I think Jane Austen. I think that's got something to do with my university days and things like that. But you know, she was writing about persuasion back in the 19th century. It's evolved so much since then, our understanding.
Yeah.
This is a new one to me though, ethical persuasion. What is it?
Well, it's about how to make people say yes to you without any manipulation, without resorting to force or coercion. No need to use your titles. So how to create win-win outcomes when you're persuading people.
Yeah. And is it something that we're learning more about all the time at the moment?
Yes and no. I would say Aristotle laid the foundation 500 years BC, right? But I give the credit to Dr. Robert Cialdini, who's the author of Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, who's also my mentor. And he understood that these principles are so powerful, they can change behavior. However, we have a responsibility to use them ethically, otherwise we won't be able to build strong relationship or do good business.
I love that you bring up ethics, because I feel like a lot of people, when you talk about persuasion, automatically assume there's a bit of manipulation that comes hand in hand. Now, how does this work? How do you actually execute this persuasion? What are some of the tips and guidelines that you give people?
Persuasion or the ethical part?
The persuasion or the...
Ethical part.
Oh, no, the persuasion.
The persuasion. Well, there are so many ways, but here's an interesting way to think about it. There are 3 categories that you activate whenever you're solving a problem or persuading people. You can think about it as RUM. The first one is relationship. So you need to build a relationship with people before you can persuade them. The second one is uncertainty. So I can have a good relationship with you, but you're not certain if I have the right skills to serve you, right? And the third one is motivation. So now you have some certainty about me, but you're not motivated to act right now. So once you understand these 3 pillars, now you can decide which principle of activation to activate, or which principle of persuasion to activate.
How did you come up with these? Is rejection something you've faced a lot in life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I didn't come up with the principle, I studied them. But I would say we all face a lot of rejection in our life, and hearing no actually affects our happiness, right? Even in your daily life, if you keep on hearing no from, let's say, your partner or your kids or your teacher or your manager, it's not pleasant. So this is a science, not just to hear yes, but to become the person people want to say yes to.
Can you give us an example or two, everyday example of ethical persuasion in action, if you like?
Yeah. Here's one which is very simple, but I really love it. So suppose you do a favor to me. You helped me with something, and really, I was very grateful, and I come to you and I say, Tom, thank you so much for helping me. Yeah. How do you reply usually?
I smile like that and go, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'll do it again.
And that's what we do often, right? However, if you do that, you just stepped on a favor, right? So the best response in order to activate the principle of reciprocity, which just happened, right? I gave you something and you want to reciprocate, is to say something like, of course, Leopold, that's what colleagues do for each other.
Oh, I like that.
And
Ash and Tom are going to hear that one from me.
Yeah. And it makes a big difference, because now it's raised to my awareness that, this is a favor that I owe it to Leopold or to Tom. It's a simple way.
You are kind of keeping tabs, though, in a way, which, yes, is nice, and I guess depending on how you're looking at someone.
Well, not really, because the principle of reciprocity is all about giving people and giving them first, right? But that doesn't mean that you don't activate it in their minds that a favor has been given, a gift has been given, right? And the gift doesn't have to be something tangible, right? So I can give you my book as a gift, right? However, Imagine you told me a word or a line that's so inspirational. That's a gift to me, right? And we all need the words, sometimes to change our behavior and to drive us forward.
Wow.
Leopold, you say that the biggest lesson you've learned from your wife is that it is to focus less on the content and more on connecting with people. What would you say are some useful tips to connect with people?
So first, I would say we have to be always aware of the curse of knowledge. So the more you learn, the more you become good at what you are, the more you focus on the content, right? Suppose you're a presenter, you go on stage, you're focused so much on the content and you forget to connect with people, right? So the secret is to switch that mindset, which my wife Zena taught me, right? And it's all about saying, okay, how can I internalize the content so it's part of me, but now create connection with my audience, now listen to them, now I try to understand what ticks for them, right? And that's why there are so many techniques. You can ask them questions so that they reflect on their own lives. You can, give them the stage sometimes, just so they feel that you're talking to them. And even sometimes a word. So there's a big difference if I say, today I'm going to talk about, or if I say, today you will discover, right? So it's a different shift in words.
That's definitely a very refreshing perspective. How to hear yes more often is your book. There's so much more we need to speak to you about. Please stick around with us, Leopold. Next up, we'll find out how to navigate your way through tough negotiations, so stay tuned.